starting with the first question, how did you get introduced to cars?
Well, the introduction to cars was a little weird because back in 2007, my father used to watch a lot of Formula One. So I used to just tag along and watch with him. And that's where I got interested in cars, the speed and retarded drivers. And it was damn great. And so, yeah, eventually it went on. My neighbors got a Mercedes, and I got fascinated by all that. And that's how I got introduced to cars.
From motorsports to neighbors to being a car guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And what car made you a car guy? Like which car like fascinated you the first? Which was the first one?
Well, as for which car fascinated me a lot was initially, I think it was the Maybach, I think, from Mercedes, the one my neighbor got. But if you talk about a sports car, a proper sports car, I think it was the Bugatti Veyron.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I saw it on the
No,
internet the first time.
that was all people spoke about. Bugatti Veyron being the
Yeah,
fastest.
like for me, it was the Bugatti Veyron as well. Mine story
Mhm.
was a little bit different. So me and my friend in the school were having a conversation regarding the fastest cars in the world, and I
Mhm.
was in the sixth standard at that time. And
Mhm.
I said to him that I would buy the Thrust SEC, which was the fastest car in the
Technically
world that
fast,
time,
yes.
technically the fastest.
It
And
still is. It still
and
is.
he said you can't drive it on the road, and I was like, what the hell? Why can't I drive it on the road? And he said that it's not road legal. And then I said that what's the fastest way on the road to get to one point to another? And he said that that's the
Bugatti.
Bugatti Veyron. You gotta buy the Bugatti Veyron. And that's the first time I heard about the Bugatti Veyron.
Technically the fastest to go in a straight line,
Yeah,
not the fastest on road.
I was fronting in front of him like, yeah, I would buy the Thrust SEC and I would go more than the speed of the sound and all of that. And then he immediately bashed me and said, you have to buy the Bugatti Veyron if you want to be in the fastest
Mhm.
car. And what particular thing about that car was that fascinated you the most? As you told it, it was a
So,
Mercedes. What was the particular thing?
initially, like when they got it, they, like obviously what everyone does distribute sweets. So I was very excited because, that was like the first Mercedes I saw up close. So they obviously offered, let's go for a ride. So I tagged along. I went into the car and it was damn luxurious. Like obviously it's a Mercedes. And then like just the way that thing drove on the streets, like obviously a 7-year-old doesn't have a lot of knowledge about it, but just the way it did kept an impression in you, which it still lasts till date. Like I've gone along in a lot of other cars, but I've still not felt as good as I felt when I was a 7-year-old in that mark.
Oh, that's great. The most exotic car I have been in is an Audi A4 maybe. And it was only
Yeah,
for a brief
again,
period of
yeah.
like 20 to
A4,
30 minutes. Yeah.
A4 and Q3 both.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine has that
I got a ride in
hatchback.
it, and it was quite fascinating to experience a German performance machine. Like we used to talk about in school, like Mercedes, Audi, BMW, but I never got to
Again,
experience.
I think the A4 is the only vehicle in which I've been that's crossed over 200 kilometers an hour.
I was in
That's
a
the
traffic
fastest I've
situation,
been.
so the maximum speed it achieved was about 80 kilometers per hour. But yeah, the
I've gone
luxury,
200,
the
yes.
sunroof, like that
Yeah,
was the first time.
I've gone 200 in that, so that was pretty a different feeling, yes. Because the last fastest I'd been was on my own bike at 150. So yeah.
Um, so, what do you think about the growing supercar culture in India? Like you live in
Oh, well,
Bangalore, so you get to experience. You
yeah, a
see,
lot of them, yes.
yeah, I have seen how
Yeah, and
many
like
supercars are
usually
there.
the most of the times I see supercars is either when I'm in a bus, which makes me feel real poor, or either in our college fest. So yeah.
So, well, my
Actually, like we
experience
have
with
an event
supercars
in
has
our
been
college fest.
okay.
So it's called Roar, and they usually get more of super bikes than cars. It's usually about who revs the loudest. Obviously, it's not such a great thing when you say it out, but when the cars and super bikes come there, it's a different thing.
My experience has been so bad. I haven't experienced any supercar. Like I haven't even seen one except a Porsche
Uh,
718 Cayman maybe.
I've seen I've seen a few. I've seen a few. I've seen some Ferraris in Bangalore. A lot of them actually.
Recently, an SVJ 63 also got delivered to Bangalore.
Yeah, a
One
lot
of
of them actually.
63.
I've seen a lot of
That is so
Aventuras,
exclusive,
a lot
yeah.
of Huracans, and a lot of
That's
them. Yeah,
exclusive.
SVA63 is
One of
much more
63.
exclusive. Yes,
One of 63. And it's got delivered to Bangalore. The moment I heard that news, I was like, dude, I have to leave Delhi, yaar. I'm moving to Bangalore.
there should be a lot more in Delhi than in Bangalore, though.
I don't
Considering the
know.
general consensus of economy and stuff. Plus, the taxes in Bangalore are very high, so it's I don't know. Depends.
Yesterday, just an 8112 Superfast got delivered in Delhi, and I have no idea like where are all these supercars that I can't even spot a one in 20 years of my
Delhi
life.
is a big place. Delhi is a big place.
Yeah. Recently, Nissan launched the 400Z. Did you saw it?
Yeah, yeah, the ugly
What are
little
your
car.
what
Yes.
are your views on it? Especially the
Okay,
design.
so like I could say that yes, Nissan did a good attempt in trying to stay relevant to today's design, but I think they went a little overboard with the nose of the car.
The front.
I like the geometry. I like the geometry. I like the side geometry. I like the planes throughout the car. It does look pretty good, but I think they still have time to rework the grill.
Hmm.
Is what I'll say.
And
That
it's
looks
just a
very odd.
prototype.
Yeah, it's just a prototype. They still have time to change designs. They still
The front
have
could
time
be
to make
more
revisions.
curvier. Like the front grill is just like a rectangular shape.
Yeah, like in general, I don't mind, geometrical,
Hmm.
flat planes, but the grill doesn't deserve to be in that shape,
Yeah.
considering the state of the company right now.
The front is too much flat, I think.
Yep.
So, are you into pickup trucks like the Raptors, the Silverados?
Wasn't much until, the launch of Cybertruck, but I wasn't a lot into pickup trucks earlier.
Uh, Ram recently launched the Rebel TRX. Did you
Not
check it
aware
out?
of it. No.
Well, it's basically a truck with a 6.2 liter supercharged engine in it with 702 horsepower and over a
V8,
thousand
V6
newton
or
meter
V4?
of torque. V8.
Oh,
Like it has
damn.
more horsepower than a Lamborghini Aventador, first gen Lamborghini Aventador in a pickup
That's
truck.
the pickup truck, yes.
0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds and a top speed of about 100 miles per hour.
Damn. Dodges being
Ram has
Dodges
gone
always.
on in and they have said that we are going to kill the Raptor now. Enough is enough.
Well, I don't think the Raptor can stay relevant anymore, considering
Yeah,
even electric trucks are beating it.
yeah. Moreover, it has a V6, and you know the Americans, they are too much obsessed with their V8s, American muscle power
Mm.
V8.
Yes, American
And
V8s,
Ford is
yes.
pushing the EcoBoost V6 to a level that it won't appeal to people who will have the option of buying a V8 super
Hmm.
truck like the Ram Rebel.
Yes.
Recently, Maserati also launched the MC20.
Oh yeah, a fascinating one. Yes.
Yeah, what do you think about it? The design, the exhaust sound,
Um,
engine, interior, everything.
I mean, yes, it's nice. Like it has a carbon monocoque. Like it's one of the first Maseratis, if I'm not wrong, with a complete carbon monocoque.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, like most of these companies are doing really well when they're trying to stay relevant with today's world. And I think if I'm not wrong, it's a 3-liter V6 on the MC20.
yeah.
I forgotten the horsepower figure, but I'm
3
pretty
liter
sure it's
twin
somewhere
turbo
in excess of,
V6.
yeah, it's
It's F1
in
derived.
surplus of 600. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the
And
older generations of
630
F1.
horsepower and
Mm,
around 730 newton meter of torque. Yeah, those are the numbers.
Yep, that's
Numbers
actually
are
a
pretty good.
really good car. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I would say it's a pretty good design. It's a good evolution in the Maserati culture. So
And
yeah.
the acceleration is also about 2.9 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour, which is the same as the first gen Lamborghini Aventador.
Well, yes, Maserati had to do something.
Yeah.
Haven't
And
been very relevant.
and the best thing is that they didn't hybridize the car or like fully electrified it.
Mhm.
They kept true to their roots and launched an
Yes.
IC engine car.
Well, but hybrids are the way to go. There's no
Hybrids
choice
are
there.
the way to go, but as long as
Well,
we can sustain the IC engine,
as
it would be good.
Ferrari has done a really great job with the LaFerrari,
Yeah,
with the
LaFerrari,
hybrid. It's an
the
absolute
Holy
great car.
Trinity, the best of the Holy
Yep.
Trinity, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, I think implementations of hybrid is good when you have such pioneers in the industry going after it.
Yeah,
Like the way they used F1 technology here, and similarly, Mercedes is working on the Project One, which
yeah,
takes hybrid technology a step further. So
yeah.
yeah,
Dude, the Project One is the most awaited car on my list. Like, I'm seriously waiting for it.
yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame. This thing, Aston Martin scrapped the Valkyrie. They
Mm.
stopped halfway.
Aston Martin Valkyrie.
They didn't work much on it. They like developed a prototype, a working prototype, and then
Yeah.
they just stopped. A lot
What
of
happened? Do you
technology like
exactly
was
know the story
unfinished.
behind it?
Not completely, but I'm
Maybe
aware like
tuning issue or
they
something
stopped
like that.
working on it. Yep, it obviously had a lot of heating issues. F1 engines aren't made to be installed in road cars. There's a lot of reasons in that.
You need
Like
to research a lot
primarily,
to make the
yep,
engine
there's a lot of work.
road goable.
Because even now, the Mercedes Project One is a car which is going on from 2016. It has an engine from 2016, the one used in
Yeah.
Hamilton's championship winning car. It's been
It
over
has a
four
V6, right?
years.
And
Yeah,
hybridized
V6,
V6.
1.6 liter V6. Yes.
Mm.
And even after 4 years, it's difficult to actually bring it out as a proper fully working car because there's a lot of complications. F1 engines aren't made to last. They aren't made to be in a road car. They're low on torque, they're very high on power, they have very high RPM, so it's just not feasible. But yeah, it's actually nice seeing a Mercedes actually trying to get it out. It's a good thing.
Mm. So, what do you think about hypercars? Cars with more than
Oh
1,000 plus
well,
horsepower. Like, I
it's
have
it's
talked to
a
some people
very
and they say that hypercars don't make any sense. Like supercars, yes, they do, but hypercars don't make any sense. Like, what would you do with over 1,000
well.
horsepower?
I mean,
Completely
technically
useless.
yes. Like at a point, probably no. But unless you are like big on pockets and you probably own BIC in India,
Mm.
then probably hypercars make a lot of sense because not just more engine horsepower, they do have a lot of more you know drag. They have a lot more downforce. They're more practical on track than on road. uh, Supercars are one way of flexing and hypercars are the next level of it, so you just can't argue with the fact that someone who loves cars definitely wants a hypercar over a supercar.
And hypercars are actually the epitome of engineering. Like,
Yeah,
the
definitely
the
everything,
maximum
the
level
best
to
you can
which
find
a
is in there.
road car can be stretched.
As of now, yes.
Hmm. And so, what is your favorite JDM car?
Oh well, JDM mods. I would say the one that actually fascinated me the most was the 2020 Supra, which went over 1,000 horsepower just stock,
Yeah,
barely
with the
changing
internal
anything
stocks.
with
Yeah,
just the stock, like very
stock
very few
internals.
changes.
Yeah,
Yep, they achieved 1,000 plus horsepower. So I would say that fascinates me the most.
and from the 2000 era, like the MK4 Supra era and the R34
Again, yeah, Supra again, the
Supra.
MK4. Yes, I'm a big
Reasons why
Supra
the
fan, so
2JZ, the tuning
more or
capability
less
of
I
the,
could say.
yeah, the tuning
Like
capability of the engine. That
yes,
is one
like
of the,
initially what happened was right about the time when I got interested in cars, right? My brother got me this game called Need for Speed Underground 2. Everyone's played
mm,
that, obviously. And yeah, I instantly, like somehow managed to stumble on the Supra. I tuned that to the max and I used that throughout the game. So yeah, like since there, I think that's what started my, thing on Supra.
what was the
And I've
tuning
been
number?
stuck on that car.
Like, what was the horsepower number to which you tuned it to?
Well, actually, this thing it didn't have a proper horsepower number in game
Mm.
Underground 2, but I do remember like I could achieve top speeds of excess of 300 kilometers an hour in the game. Not
Okay.
sure if that actually
Then it would
is
be surely be around 1200 or something like that.
1200 definitely, but
Because
I
I
mean
saw a video on YouTube where the guy took it actually to about speed of 296 kilometers per hour and the car was at 1100 horsepower. 296 kilometers per hour.
that's really nice, very nice.
And if you had to choose between the Supra and the R32, what would you choose?
Definitely the Supra. I'm not a big Skyline fan. I mean, Skylines are great, but I prefer the Supras over it.
So do you think the Godzilla is still relevant? The R35 Nissan GTR. Like it's been in the market for like more than 11 years, and still like Nissan hasn't upgraded it too much.
Well, I think that's the last car which actually carried the company, entire company of Nissan. So
Yeah,
I would say they should probably give it a refresh. It's not very relevant today, but they should probably give it a refresh,
we are
similar to
desperately
the
in need
Supra.
of a R36 Nissan GTR.
Sure, yes.
Like the first time the Nissan GTR came out, it smashed the 911, all of the competition, and it came at a
Mhm.
price like most of the people were fascinated by it. They were like,
Well, Japanese are always good at that.
yeah. But over the period of time, other manufacturers have started to gain similar performance numbers, and the GTR isn't relevant anymore. Like you could see it in the sales number as well.
Mhm.
The GTR happens to be the cheapest supercar in India you can buy. It's the
Yeah, in
cheapest one.
technically yes, technically yes.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
2.35
it's a
crores.
it's
Still
it
not
is a
cheap,
car which,
but yeah,
yeah, obviously.
not cheap, but yeah, that's the cheapest way to get into supercars.
Hmm. It definitely deserves a refresh. Like, Toyota did really good. Like, it's pretty controversial with the 2020 Supra. People say it's a BMW,
Hmm.
but I think it is really good. Like, even in stock, it's 380 horsepower. So
Hmm.
I
What
think
change
it's
do
a
you
pretty
think
good car.
that Toyota could have done? Like, what do you think that Toyota could have done better in the new Supra? Like, give it a manual or something like that?
Oh, definitely. Manuals are supposed to be given to such iconic cars. A lot of people do not like automatics. Neither do I actually. I do prefer a stick shift over manual.
Even
I mean, over automatic, obviously. But I think overall, apart from the transmission, they did a great job. I think actually having a BMW helped them out in it was a good choice. So yeah, all in all, I'll say apart from the transmission, I think everything was great in the car.
and what are your thoughts about the Seat Corvette?
Oh, yeah,
Seat
that's one
Corvette.
affordable sports car actually. Like
Yeah, like
GM launching it at
mm,
61,000, I think, base model.
yeah,
Was a
price
pretty
like
good
a
thing.
price like a sports car and performance like a supercar.
Designed like a super. Its design is eye catchy AF. Like like I've seen a lot of people post about the car on this thing. A lot of small YouTubers post about the car, their own C8 on Twitter basically. And people are down there responding, "How do you buy such a car with only these many subs?"
Hmm.
And it's pretty weird because a lot of people don't know exactly what it costs, and they think it's probably like some 500 $600 supercar or something.
No, it's not.
So yeah, it's actually nice when people go out of their way to design such a car at such a low price.
Like it
They're
literally
pretty good.
did change the industry to a quite a bit.
Yeah, but again, it's a American V8, and I'm not a fan of American V8s.
So what are you a fan of? Italian V8s,
The V12s,
V12s.
yes,
So
and the F1 V6s.
that's nice. Well, then here is a tough question for you: Ferrari V12 or Lamborghini V12?
Again, Lambo, obviously. Italian
Lambo
stallions.
reasons. Both are
In general, I'm
Italians.
not a Ferrari fan. Firstly, like it goes back to F1 again, why I don't like Ferrari. Um, and again, in general, just the culture and hype around Lamborghini, it's just helps everything.
So if you had to choose between an Aventador and an F12, you would choose the Aventador.
Yeah, mostly.
And if you had to choose between an Aventador and an F12 TDF, F12 TDF,
I'd probably still go for the Lamborghini. I have
okay,
kind of a hate to Ferrari, so
dude, the
yeah.
F12 TDF, it's love, yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about the future of supercars? Like, will companies transform directly into electric cars, or first they would take the approach of what the companies are now taking, like having smaller engines and then hybridizing them, or
I
they would
think that's
directly
what
convert into
is
electric?
gonna happen because, again, as you would have heard in it's a saying in motorsports, what wins on Sunday sells on Monday. So that's what will happen. Like a lot of big companies are entering F1. Like currently, you have Ferrari, Mercedes, and Renault, and McLaren as well. And over time, there are going to be other teams which eventually enter. Like BMW left long a while back, but there have been news of them trying to return to the sport. So that's what, like, when the big manufacturers take this approach, the other manufacturers are bound to enter the same realm. Currently, even Honda is supplying for Red Bull in F1. So again, even if the Japanese lead the way, that's what is going to eventually happen. So I don't think a lot of companies are going to go directly electric. There will be companies which are going to start from electric, and there are
Mhm.
going to be companies which are going to move to hybrid. But I think moving completely electric is going to be a big, big gap in time right now. So yeah.
And okay, so recently Ferrari like launched the F8 Tributo, and
Mhm.
it's the third successor to the V8 lineup in the modern cars, like
Mhm.
from the 458 to the 488 to the F8. So the
Mhm.
exhausts are getting worse and worse. Did you notice them?
Well, yeah, like that's the thing
Exhaust
again.
sounds.
When you move to smaller engines, you're bound to increase. Like you're bound to get a higher RPM number to be fit into it. So again, with RPM levels going above 8,000, above 9,000, it does get a lot difficult to maintain a good sound. And well, Ferrari's been known to have worse engine sounds with every generation of car.
Like in the
So I
458, it
wouldn't say I'm
sounded so good.
surprised. Yeah,
458 sounded so good.
458 was one really legendary car, I would say, in the
Like
history
yeah,
of Ferrari.
designed by Pininfarina and having a naturally aspirated V12. It had also got some
Mhm.
inputs by Michael Schumacher regarding that Manotino switch and all of those other stuff.
Yep, yep.
And
Well, yeah,
then
but I think yes. Overall, I would say yes. Engine sounds are going to get a lot worse in the coming years. I think there'll be a point where good engine sounds are just going to be limited to the JDM cars, and everyone's just going to go into high revving, like high revving, high frequency shrill noises. But yeah, let's see. As far as it gives more performance, I really don't care much about the engine sound there.
you don't care about the engine sound.
Well, I would definitely take performance over it. So yeah.
Okay. So views on the SF90 Stradale.
Again, the SF90. It's like, I don't know, mixed opinions. I would say I really like the design on that,
Hmm.
and I didn't really like the way they approached the release of the car. They had F1 drivers Charles Leclerc, and then actually work on, what do you call, the I mean, I think they shot their this thing intro video in Monaco, at Charles Leclerc's place.
Hmm.
But overall, it's named after the 2019 version of the Ferrari's F1 car. It was called the SF90 there too. But yeah, the plug-in hybrid approach is again a good thing. I really like the way companies are moving towards a more sustainable way of driving.
It doesn't sound that good, but it has got 986 horsepower. So
Gets was every generation. So yes.
986 horsepower. So would you take it for the price of a supercar? Like they are going to price it towards the supercar range, like $300,000 or $400,000. But
Mhm.
the performance it is offering is of supercar level, or
I
hypercar
think at
level.
that point it's more practical to go for a Brit than like McLaren or something. It's more practical. I wouldn't say it's better. Not better for me considering my height, but it's more practical to go for a McLaren than to go for a Ferrari if you're even concerned about your sound as well as performance and luxury.
Mhm. So what's the best supercar available in the market right now, in your opinion?
Like in India or in general?
In general,
I would go for the Koenigsegg Jesko
supercar,
R6.
supercar.
Oh, supercar. Okay, hypercars are. As a supercar, not many good cars according to me in the supercar range. I mean, there are good cars, but none very practical to buy.
I would go for the 720S.
Well, yeah, 720S is a great car. And the 765 LT is also great.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'd probably say a McLaren again, the 765 LT.
And do you love electric cars? Like there are some people on the internet that are hating on electric
I
cars.
I absolutely love electric. Absolutely love the cars. Like, okay, again, the thing was one of our competitions. We had to develop a hybrid, and I extensively worked with the electric powertrain department, and I have learned so much more over there that I have fallen in love with electric cars basically. I think
And
the first time I heard about it was in one of those Discovery shows, Discovery Turbo shows, where I saw about the Roadster, the old Roadster,
Tesla Roadster.
and well, yeah, Tesla Roadster, the original one. And from then, it's been like electric cars have been very fascinating because like in general, if you tell a layman in India, if you tell them all electric cars, the first thing's gonna come in the mind is a Reva or an E2, which are not considered fast.
Mm.
But when you actually, try explaining it to people that electric cars accelerate much, much more faster than proper petrol cars, like IC cars, they're not gonna initially believe you. They'll just be like, it's not possible. Electric's supposed to be slow. But I don't think a lot of people can wrap their head around the concept that, electric cars have much more torque. They're much more faster accelerating. So yeah,
But their top end is not that great because they run
yep,
out
top
of
end is not
juice.
great, definitely. Obviously, like there's a limit to how fast you can go and everything.
Like a
But yes, I
1600
think
horsepower Bugatti Chiron 300 plus can go over 300 miles per hour. But
obviously, yes, they don't have a great top end. I agree.
hmm,
But the lower end, it's the lower end where you actually spend most of your time in the
yeah,
lower end.
it's the lower end that
So
you're going to spend the most time with. But to
yep.
have bragging
So
rights, it's good to have a nice
yeah,
top.
definitely, definitely. That's where hybrids come in, right? So
But in India, I think the Nexon EV would be changing the scenario. Like it's
yep,
a fast car,
considering, yep, actually, yes, it's
0 to
really
100
fast.
kmph in about 9.8 seconds. Like it's not that fast, but it's still
Yeah,
fast for its
obviously, but
segment, and it's a compact
considering
SUV.
cost and yeah, it cost. Look at the cost, man.
Yeah,
You're
for a
literally
compact SUV, it's great. Tata's
it's
nailed
great.
it. And okay, so what if you had to go with the Model S or the Porsche Taycan? What would you choose?
Uh, well, again, Tesla's been a fascination for me again, sir.
Hmm,
So I'd probably go for a Model S. And again,
Model.
Porsche is new to this field of electric cars,
Hmm. But they have nailed
considering
it
Tesla's been a
with their
pioneer
first
in it.
product. They
Yes,
have
they
nailed it.
definitely have. But Tesla has been a pioneer, like not just the vehicle's performance, but in general, the connectivity and the features that a Tesla has gives a good advantage over Titan.
So that would be a wrap.
Yes, thank you.
So did you like it? Did you like the
Yes,
post?
definitely. I think we can do longer sessions also.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like this was my first one, so I couldn't exactly figure out on how to set up a podcast and all of that stuff.
Mhm,
But yeah, I'm going to improve it in the future for sure.
mhm.
And you will be a permanent guest. There would be a
Yeah,
lot of more
I
episodes
don't
coming
mind. I
from
don't
you.
mind. Sure, sure. Love to be a
So
part.
bye, bro.
Bye. See ya.
Yeah.